Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Maniacs podcast. A couple bald guys talking about Web3 for your listening and, not necessarily your viewing pleasure, but hopefully the voices are okay if you're listening to this on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. I'm Jongo, that's Task. We're here for the party. Hey, Task, how was your weekend, man?
I don't know. I mean, oh, that's right. It's Tuesday, so we haven't seen each other since last week. It was okay. I just do Leo glossary stuff. Don't ask me. Don't be
Well,
questions.
is that's literally all you do? I love it. Like that's literally your
That
life now,
that
right? It's
that,
just
that it is literally all I do. You're right.
nice.
The site was down the other day, so I finally did dishes. I think I had to use a jackhammer on some of them. But anyway, that's my domestic issues aside. Listen, it's business built in 101. You know when you develop a business, you're married to it, and it's not going to grow itself. It's not going to do itself. So, I mean, until I get the pieces in place, and until it gets to the place where others can see the vision, it's I got to keep grinding, and that's just the
Mm.
way it is. I mean, there's a couple other people who are doing things too. It's not just me, but you know it's the bulk of it's on my shoulders, but I have the time, and that's when you set a longer term vision, it's you just go after it, and hopefully the rewards will be there in the future.
Hey, dude, this is this whole let's think, down the road instead of two days. You're working for long term stuff here, man. You're not trying to.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were told by Leo what was coming. I mean, it's not like this ad revenue stuff was hidden, and it's like all of a sudden they made an announcement. It's like surprise. I mean, we knew about it for over 2 years, and it's so if that's the case, positioning ourselves to take advantage of things is very important, and not take advantage of things now. It's going to be to
Mm,
take advantage of where things are in 3 or 4 years, because that's where the big money's at. What we're dealing with now is
yeah.
peanuts, obviously. So, um, that's how it works. But for it to work, you have to work. And one of those
Ooh,
nasty
you're
letter
stirring the
words.
pot, huh?
Well, I mean, it's it's you got to do shit. I mean, there's another four-letter word. Shit. You got to do shit. You got to do stuff.
Mm,
That's a five-letter word. So we'll get smart here and use five-letter words. And if I can think of one, I'll use a six-letter word. In a decade, there's a six-letter
yeah.
word. Um, wow, my vocabulary's expanded. Um, it always comes back to the same thing. It's those who work their ass off. They're the ones who are the luckiest. They're
Right.
also ones called lucky, but it's just that's the way it goes. And people who position themselves to where things are going, I think are going to be in a good place. Those who sit back and say, well, this isn't here, or what about this, or whatever. It's like, okay. And
Mm.
you know, 98% of the people on Hive are not going to take advantage of the opportunities. They're just not. We know
Dude,
that.
it's we said this before we jumped online. Hello, tokenized. Uh, it's just it's utterly frustrating. I put the link out for the threadcast in the CTP Discord, and it was just crickets. Like thank goodness Best Start showed up, because like trying to get people to take action, and you know how I present it. I'm like, all you have to do is say hi and ask a question. I will upvote you. Free crypto. And it's just like, just that seems to be the hardest thing in the world to get any type of traction at all. And just like you said, it'll be the same group of people in a couple years that'll say, you guys are lucky. You guys are so lucky because you guys have all the crypto.
Yeah, you knew all the
Okay.
whales. You kissed the whale's ass. Well, I was also, by the way, Jungo, I got a buy in Leo story for you. I went and bought
Ooh.
100 Leo or something like that the other day, and I actually wanted to buy like $400 worth of Leo, but
Nice.
you can't. You can't. It's like what's that like? Well, now it's a lot less since everything crashed. But
Right.
I had like 1,300 Hive or something. I was trying to convert it to Leo, and I was like looking at the sell wall, and I'm like, Jesus, there's nothing here. So yeah, I mean
Mm.
it's there. It's obvious how tightly held this thing is, and it's not going to take a whole lot for it to rush up to 20 cents with the right mechanisms in place, which I believe they're putting the right mechanisms in place, and so over time we get even semi decent numbers, and I
Mhm.
think it'll really have an impact.
So let's before we there's a few things I was hoping to talk about tonight, but obviously the elephant in the room. We are recording this on November 21st, Tuesday, 2023. The elephant in the room is the big announcement this week. There's a whole lot of questions in the threadcast right now. Cal just jumped in and said, how do we feel about this? Do you think decentralized exchanges are going to be benefit? Lots of questions. I'll dive into each of them. But for those who might be listening to this going, what the heck are these guys talking about? CZ from Binance stepped down today, apparently paid like $1 billion to shut the SEC up or whatever. Basically, the SEC just wanted to get paid. Let's be honest, and it is what it is. We all make money. We're all in this crypto space, and as it is, this is how it goes. Anytime anything happens like this in crypto, it's the talking point of the night. So, elephant in the room. Let's dive into this because it's hot news, breaking news on the Crypto Maniacs podcast. First of all, what's your expectations of this? And then we'll dive into Cal's question and there's some other questions as well about the CZ
Who
stepping
cares?
down. So,
CZ and Binance left the United States, and I threaded out. He's Chinese. He's in crypto. He's
Canadian.
not part of the banking cartel. He
Mm-hmm.
did the exact same thing the bankers have been doing, all the time. And you know what do they do? They just pay a fine. He actually pled to criminal charges. This wasn't the SEC. This was Department of Justice
Sorry, yeah, right.
after him. So he actually has felony charges. I guess I didn't read what he agreed to. I guess he pled guilty to felony charges, probably, no jail time or something and a fine. But either way, Binance had left the United States, and somebody to my thread had commented, and yeah, I think it's a proxy, another U.S. China proxy fight, and the U.S. government went after CZ primarily because he's Chinese, and Binance is a Chinese company. Um, yeah, is it? It's not going to affect the future of crypto because the future of crypto is not in Binance. The future of crypto is in Wall Street. The exchanges are going to be Wall Street banks. That's who the average Joe Schmo is going to go and swap their fiat for Bitcoin or their fiat for Ethereum or their Bitcoin for Ethereum or whatever. That's what those people are going to use, the masses. Coinbase is the leader in the US, but Coinbase is a publicly traded company, and they're, Brian Armstrong, he's not too far removed from the establishment either. So all these centralized exchanges are going to be playing ball. It's going to end up all in Wall Street's hands and the established financial institutions, one way or another. I mean, look at who's filing for these ETFs. BlackRock. Oh, gee, there's a very Wall Streetish name. Um, you know, uh, Van Ark. I mean, some of these, Kathy Wood, even Ark Investments, Van Eyck, not Van Ark, Van Eyck. Kathy Wood. Yeah, she's a crypto lover, but she's Wall Street. So this none of this is surprising. And to answer about decentralized exchanges, I don't know if it'll make them stronger. Decentralized exchanges, in my view, have a very, very good future because I think that's really where freedom is going to reign. I think that's really where um, the future of the industry has to go because governments can't control it. And so I think, the only thing holding back the decentralized exchanges at this point in time, like many other things, is infrastructure. And I did like what VSC sent out. VSC said, you know, that's why we're looking at replacing Binance. We're looking at building stuff that can provide the same services. And, that's, I think, where the future comes down to. But we still need the infrastructure. And that takes time. But, none of this surprises me. They're going after crypto hard. And the U.S. government is about as anti crypto as you're going to find.
Let's dive into a couple of these questions specifically. Obviously, again, there's a lot of people are talking about this, and rightfully so. It's big news. But we also had the AMA today, so we'll get back to Binance in a second. But we'll switch it up here. Best start. John wanted to know. He listened to the AMA this afternoon, and they were spitballing some ideas about threadcasts. I can see it getting out of hand. What do you guys think is the best way to manage these threadcasts?
It's unfortunately it's a great idea that the right to question how will it be abused. We see it again the second that the ability to open up and put links in your top line threads, it became a spam fest. I don't know. I mean, what Cal mentioned are legitimate ideas. Um, yeah, I guess you do need some type of moderation. It'd be great to automate, but you do need some type of human moderators to, go through and check. And people are trusted, like Tokenize, like Cal, like Django, whoever. And if you see something there and you click on the threadcast and you say, okay, this is bogus, this is just going back to your article, or this is just a link to your article, and delete it. I don't really like the idea of paying because that I mean, if you make it too onerous, then you're destroying the ability to post threadcast. And if you don't make it onerous enough, it's like, well, it's no, it's not going to deter anybody. So I don't know if that really is a viable feature or viable approach. The Leo power, I like that idea, but again, how excluding are you going to be if you set it? And I'll just pick a number at 500 Leo power minimum. Well, what if somebody just joined 2 weeks ago? They're very active, but they don't have 500 Leo powered up. There's no easy answer to this best start, and I mean, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one for them to figure out. I guess human moderation and a number of people, like Cal mentioned, the number 10. I mean, I don't know how much thought he's given to that, but if you have 10 trusted people from around the world, and you think about it, you have different time zones and things of that nature. People in Nigeria, there's plenty of Leos who are from Nigeria who are trusted. They're in a little bit different time zone than we are, and you get some from Australia and some from Europe. I mean, I guess you get a dozen, 10, 12 people who are doing that, and everybody just kind of keeps an eye on it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's an easy idea to come up with. I threw that idea and said we needed a scheduler. That's an easy idea. How do you prevent it from being abused? That's the tough part.
Well, I mean, this is the whole self-policing thing too. Yesterday, for example, I saw some new account come on and they were just throwing affiliate links out. Like every 2 seconds there was a new affiliate. Yeah. And I tried to engage them and say, hey, there's a lot better ways to generate referrals, instead of putting your link out in front of people. And they did the same thing, like you mentioned to Cal, I think a couple of days ago, and then they took off the ability of your top level thread to have a link in it and stuff like that. Um, this goes back to number of users. Like the more people you have, there's going to be a couple things that happen, in my opinion. The first thing is that you're going to have a lot more content. You're going to have more people using it, so a lot of the crap will get hidden, but you're going to have a lot more of it. That's the other part of the equation.
Yeah.
So the cream will rise. So it's like this double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, you're going to have a lot more people. The content will be better, but there will be more spam. There will be more junk
Yeah.
because of just pure numbers. So I think this is where it comes into self-policing. This is again why I think downvotes served a purpose until it became an egotistical thing on Hive to downvote the world. But there has to be some way, a community. I don't even know how you would handle that going forward. But you're gonna see this. You're gonna see a lot more people joining, a lot more people being active, a lot more people, being active. But you're also gonna get a lot more spam. You're gonna get a lot more crappy content. But that's just the way it is. I think what I've
Yeah,
seen.
I mean, it's, I think it has to come back to what everybody said. You need more tools to filter content, including a mute button of some sort.
Right. Yeah.
Where you get somebody like you encountered yesterday, and everybody can immediately mute that person, and then their stuff, is hidden from from your feed. I don't know what it would take technically to construct something like that, but that's what's really needed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, we're still babies here, I mean, like, and what
Yeah,
I mean that is, in Leo, it just got its rebrand like a month or so ago, and like this has just been a year since Threads kind of started, so we haven't even started crawling yet. Like, you got to give this some time, and once we get our legs, I think we'll be
yeah,
good.
and
But
I've been spending more time on my following feed. One of the tabs is just your following feed. And you know what? It keeps you in your
that's
your
it. Yep.
echo chamber. But so what? I mean, it's if there's people you like and who are active, you follow them and they show up on your feed, and these others do not. And it's
Yep.
not a great way to find new people. But I mean, do you need new people? I mean,
Yep.
you as an individual. I mean, it's you know, do you have enough friends? I mean, how many people do you need to engage with? And that's
Yep.
another possibility. And it sucks for newer people, but that's just the way it is. You gotta have to work your ass off to try to get attention.
Yep, and that's like, if you think about it, that's how you got noticed on the blockchain. That's how I got noticed on the blockchain. It's because we showed up and we engaged with people.
Hmm.
Again, I wish there was a $47 course we could sell people here on, how to get noticed on the Hive blockchain, but
Yeah,
it's literally just add value to other people's content
yeah. So
and
I mean,
continue to do it.
it's Cal is right when he says there's a lot of people you are not going to break of the mindset of just rewards, 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 and we can see that. So, um, I mean, I was going through the news section, the long form news section, and of course, it's all Leo glossary stuff now. Not all, but mostly. But of the non Leo glossary stuff, John, well, you might not be surprised, but there were very few in Leo posts. There was
All
Pete
right.
D, there was
Yeah.
Ecency, and a couple high blogs, not too many of them, but mostly Pete D and Ecency. And people are really surprised in how foolish they are. None of that is eligible for Evergreen. So I don't know why these people are all talking about Evergreen and how wonderful it is when they post through recency. You're
Yeah.
not getting Evergreen. You get zero for it. It gets you zero Evergreen. It's not eligible. Only Leo front end posts where you got the, and I'll try to say this word, canonical. Did I pronounce that correctly? Where you
Pretty
get the,
close. Yes, sir.
what's that?
Yes, sir. Yes, your Scrabble word is good. Yes, sir.
I was go. I practiced before the show. Um,
Perfect.
but I practiced by myself. So if I was wrong, I was just practicing wrong. But anyway, you don't get that weighting. So it has to be through the InLeo UI. And just if tonight is any indication of the normal behavior, and I've never really paid attention, to be honest with you, most of what people produce is not going to generate any evergreen for. Even if it does get a lot of clicks, it's not
Yeah.
going to generate it because you're using Peak D or whatever UI.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to be vastly disappointed, and they'll say, "Well, why doesn't Leo include those RUIs?" Well, why should they? Why would they? You know,
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, and I heard Cal mention that too on the AMA today about
he
using
mentioned
in
that a
Leo.
while back too. See, this is no
Yeah.
one. Pay attention. He told you what the deal was. He didn't keep it a secret. He's mentioned
Mhm.
it a number of times over the last year or so, and anything you do. Plus, I don't know. You're already taking a 20% haircut on any of your Leo earned because there's the whatever they call it, the penalty for using Peak D. And you lose 20% of your Leo rewards. Not your
Right.
Hive rewards, obviously. Those are unaffected, but Leo rewards you lose 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't care about Leo, then fine. But
Speaking of Cal, he's up next, and he said, obviously we talked about CZ a bit, but he said, "What's your favorite decks right now? You can give one on Hive and one off Hive." Um, Seeing that I don't
there's only
use,
one dex on. Well, there's the internal
y-
exchange and Hive Engine,
yeah,
and Hive
yeah. I mean,
Engine is certainly not our favorite.
dude, Hive Engine, man, and Logical Dude is here too, and dude, I was kind of watching him try to get some answers out of the Hive Engine team in the Hive Engine Discord, and it's like pulling teeth there, man. Like it's so bottom of the priority list for that entire Splinterland squad. It's a disaster. So officially, they all say don't use Hive Engine anymore. Use tribal decks. That was the official comment
Well,
from the Hive Engine
who
team.
made tribal decks? I thought they did.
It is Hive Engine. It's just Hive Engine, the front end. They don't want people using Hive Engine anymore. They want everyone using tribal decks instead. Because Hive Engine has no support. That's what they're doing. They're trying to phase it out.
But who
So,
maintains tribal decks?
Hive
Same
Engine,
people.
same people. Yeah, yeah.
It's isn't it the same damn thing? I mean,
It's yeah. So yeah, I'd say out of the dexes on Hive, I think the internal market works the best for the swap HBD to Hive back and forth.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because you got the internal exchange and Hive Engine.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
not
B
saying
swap
that
is
necessarily
B
the
swap
internal.
is
What?
really good too. B swap is really good. The D City guys run
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Gerber runs that.
I guess Gerber. Yeah, I guess that's an exchange. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, B swap probably might be the best one. Which I mean, Leo Dex is going to be turned over from what Cal was saying to uh, to B swap. So
yeah.
those two will merge, and that could be a good thing. My view is Voltec type faster. Just type faster, Voltec. We need you. We need another option. And
Yes, Voltec, please hurry, please.
well, Voltec or disregard.
Or disregard, yeah. Voltec or disregard. Either of you
They're
guys, we're eagerly anticipating this. Please hurry. Sunseeker said today the Hisparo used Threadcast for the curation show, and the community tried, and she's very proud of them for it.
she said what?
They said they were confused, so it needs to be even more friendly, but they did it anyway, and it got more than 100 comments. I know change is hard, but it's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I'll be. This is let's put hashtag feedback here. And I understand that a lot of this stuff is being put out and tested and things break, but I think it's really, really important going forward for threads that the basic stuff works no matter what. No matter what, hell or high water, we should be able to comment. We should be able to open up new threads. We should be able to upvote at minimum. Threadcast, all this stuff, I get things are gonna, but we need the MVP, man. We need it to be so flawless because the user experience, if so, this is the god honest truth. The more these guys are getting the marketing funds from DHF, so they're doing their marketing to attract new people here. This is what's going to happen if you attract people and the stuff doesn't work from the get-go.
Yeah, well,
they're gone.
How long have I been saying that, John?
Yeah.
The best marketing plan in the world with a shit product or a shit company is an express lane in the bankruptcy court.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to market. And I'm like, what the fuck you marketing? What? Why? What are you going to bring people to? A dead site? A dead chain? A place that puts up articles with no comment? I mean, what are you going to promote? And I went off on this the other night, and it's just like everybody seems to disagree with me. But there you're saying it again. Everybody disagrees with me, but everybody keeps coming back to the same thing. And it's like,
I don't disagree with you, Task.
It's like if stuff doesn't work, what the fuck are you marketing for? If there's no activity, why the hell are you marketing? Well, we need to bring people in. They leave. I mean, it's like just look at your own damn internet experience. If you go to a site and you see the last time anything happened on the site was 6 days ago, are you going to say on that site, no, your ass leaves?
Yep.
If you go to something like a Twitter type knockoff and you see there's been no activity in the last 22 and a half minutes, are you going to sit there? No, you're going to leave. I mean, this is just how people operate. And, I don't know why this doesn't seem to get through to people, other than the fact that we think our shit really smells like roses. And it's like, and it's not that I'm not optimistic on the stuff. It's just we have major holes technologically. We have major flaws. And what Cal said today summed it up. They are developing stuff so quickly and implementing stuff so quickly, it's bound to blow shit up. And that's unavoidable. So you have two choices. Either stop asking for shit and they just don't add anything without extreme testing and very, very long intervals between updates, or they keep updating and developing as quickly as possible, and you take the risk that when they hit live, shit blows up. And evidently what blew this up was the Google ads, which it surprised me because last time they implemented Google ads, it blew shit up. But, that's just Google ads, I guess. And unfortunately, from what Cal was saying, it was intermittent. It happens sometimes, it doesn't happen on others, and it happens on some pages, not on others, which that's the worst thing in the world. At least if it nukes everything and you get a 404, you can go searching. But, those are your two choices. Welcome to the world of development. And, I much prefer, and yes, it's frustrating when shit goes down. Trust me, when the site goes down, it's very frustrating for me. I put up probably 35 posts a day. It gets very frustrating for me. But I understand. You know why? Because I want shit. I want more shit on the site. I want more stuff. So guess what? If I want more stuff, I have to accept the fact that sometimes some developer is going to put something together. And I'm not saying anything gets a developer. They just don't know. I mean, you don't know till you hit the go live. And all of a sudden it's like, yay, 98% is working, but the 2% we nuked is 2% we needed. That's just the way it is. And Cal's right. I mean, how many people are on labs each day? That's where the testing is. And how many people even use it? Very few. It's open to everybody, I think. They don't have any criteria to use labs. And most people don't use it. Well, guess what? So any updates are zero tested. And I see this all the time. Well, these guys should test more. Did you test it?
Mm-hmm.
Cal is usually on Thread saying, yeah, we just put some updates to labs. How many people run over and test it out? I mean, I mean, how do I phrase this? We have to take our responsibility. It really comes down to this. And this is why I get so arsy about this shit, because nobody takes responsibility. They just want to click hashtag feedback. This sucks. This is bad. Well, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, what have
Dude.
you done? Did you go to labs and test it out before it went live? No, you just sit there, bitch and moan.
That's why I
shut the hell up.
criticize things very. I'm rarely the guy to criticize things because I understand the work that goes into it. And this is the Brené Brown quote. If you're not in the arena getting your ass kicked the same way I am, your comments mean nothing. So it's like, it's so easy for me to say, this sucks, it needs to be improved. Well, what the hell am I doing to improve it? Like, what have I built? Like, am I building threads? No, I'm a member of the community, and I own Leo, so I have a vested interest in it. So yeah, I care about it. I want to see it go, but I'm not the one banging out the code. So you see a lot of people that are criticizing and saying, "Oh, this sucks and this sucks." I just saw it today on Threads. There was a whole bunch of shenanigans going on. Maybe that's what Threads needs, a little bit of drama. A little bit of drama never hurt no one. Just saying.
It'll bring a lot of clicks.
Yeah, it'll bring a lot of clicks. Twitter was not built on warm and fuzzy. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, you really got to watch it when you're criticizing things. I always try to like make sure I'm, not, pissing people off, because it's a lot of work to develop stuff. It's a lot.
Let's be realistic. Don't you think Cal wants everything to work? I mean, do you think Cal wants shit to break? No,
he wants it to break. Absolutely. That's what I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah, he wants everybody upset. I mean, come on. And usually it's, who's bitching the most? People with no skin in the game. They piss them on, you look at them all and they got nothing. It's like, shut the fuck up. And people, people wonder why I'm such an asshole and why I just get blunt with people. It's like, fuck you. You put in as much effort as I do, then you can talk. You put in as much time. You get some steak, then you can talk. Till then, shut the fuck up, because go on Twitter, go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go wherever. I don't care. Oh, Ecency does this, so go fucking play on Ecency. I don't care. Yeah. I've never said anybody has to stay on Hive. In fact, I've told people to leave. Go get lost. Go jump on a bridge. Go play in traffic. I really don't care what happens to you. It makes no
How do you really feel about people, Task?
Well, honestly, it's like somebody posted today, where's so-and-so? It was Eric. He posted, where's so-and-so? I missed the guy. And it's like, you're one of the few people who ever thinks about anybody, because it's the out of sight, out of mind. It really is.
Yeah.
It's especially online. It's any of us disappear for 6 months. John, you and I split. You know what? 6 months from now, maybe once in a while, somebody say, whatever happened to those ball guys? I wonder where it happened to Task. What happened to John?
Yeah, what happened to that idiot from
Where'd
Canada?
they go? And
wasn't he driving trucks or something? What an idiot. Yeah.
It'd be once in a blue moon, but then within 2 years, it'd be rarely, rarely would anybody mention that. And, 3-4 years later, we are long forgotten. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And we're mainstays and we're all over the place on this chain right now. But that's how it works. And, so to believe in our own self-importance, and when somebody's building and you have no skin in the game, you do nothing, you do 4 threads a day, and you think you're important. Honestly, you really think you're important? If Django and I can disappear, and we do a hell of a lot more for this chain than, probably 90% of the people out there. And if we can disappear and become nothing but dust in the wind in the memory, you don't think
Yeah.
you think you're that important? No, you're not. So get over it. It's
Dude, so Shane Matta in the comments on YouTube said he suggests politics, religion, and how people should raise their kids are great topics for
and
drama.
sports. We need sports in there.
Sports. Well, yeah, you got to like just smack talk someone's favorite team, and you know,
Yeah.
I try to always like throw in a jab like the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants, but it only gets a raise out of you. That's it. So. But you're in the NFC East, so you're not a villain. You're not the Jets.
Dude,
So,
dude, we
yeah.
fucked up and beat the Commanders or whatever the hell they're called this week. I don't even know the name of the game.
Comanches. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, whatever they're. I mean, you know, we can't even like lose right and go for the top pick. You know, you got to win. Freaking right near Thanksgiving, you have what, 1 win or 2 wins? I don't even know what we had. 1 or 2 wins, and you got to go out and win. And you know what these dumbasses will do? They'll go 4-0 in December. So, you know, you get like the 10th pick. It's like,
yeah, it's not like you need a quarterback or anything, right? You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're paying $40 million a year this year and next year to a guy who now has a torn ACL, and he sucked anyway. So, anyway, I mean, it's quarterback play in the NFL is pathetic anyway. But that's a different story. But yeah, we need some politics and
a little bit of drama.
Yeah, politics. A little.
I'll do the religion drama. I could do that. I'll handle that one. I'll stir.
Yeah, you know, a little religion. You know, get some Muslims in and some Christians in, and get a real good religious
and
war.
Some Jews and hug it all out. Get them all together and hug it out.
Get some Jews. Although the Jews seem to be a little busy right now.
Yeah.
They got their plate full, from what I can see.
Right.
I mean, it's, you know, let's get some Trumpism and some Bidenism going.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Although, you know, you don't even need the Bidenism, because I don't think anybody supports Biden, but just Trump alone, you know, you got your Trump supporters and your Trump haters. So just Trump is like both sides wrapped up in one.
What about vax and anti-vax? Can we get those guys together? You think that might work? Or is that like 2 years ago? That news is dead?
That's kind of old. I mean, Trump you would think is kind of old, but he's just like a hemorrhoid. He doesn't disappear. He keeps coming back. I mean, he's like a herpy. You just can't get rid of the guy.
Yeah, get rid of.
Yeah, it's like the guy just doesn't leave. I mean, it's. But getting back to the topic at hand, I do feel for Cal, and you know, I'm apt to lose my shit with Cal too. I try not to do it publicly. But, you know, he's in a no-win situation. But, you know, it's one thing. Honestly, it's one thing, John Go, if you were saying something and losing your shit because you're building on Leo and you got a lot of Leo, you invest money in Leo, blah, 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 versus somebody who has four Leo in their wallet and they've made 40 threads in their life.
Right.
It's like, I mean, it's come on. So, I mean, those who have plenty of Leo in their wallet, I think they're the ones who are going to benefit. And if you don't, it's not like we haven't been saying for years, this is what's coming. And the ad revenue, okay, they're feeling their way out. They had problems with Coinzilla, now Google ads, for what that's worth, for whatever duration, but we know they're working on their own ad platform, which, you know, probably will have moderate results at best to start, because again, you know, when you have 500,000 monthly page views, you're not going to sell a whole lot to a whole lot of people, a whole lot of ads. I mean, that's pathetic. So we have to get the numbers up. But again, that goes back to what the fuck you spending your time on Web 2. Get the numbers up here.
See, this is me thinking entrepreneurial and personal branding, social media. This is my thought process on this. So let's go back on the previous shame that shall remain nameless. When that got started, there was this thing called bid bots out there. And bid bots were basically how a lot of the top witnesses have a lot of money now. And it was a very successful business model on the previous blockchain. A lot of people hated it. I, on the other hand, thought it was brilliant. This is why. I could pay to get seen more. That was my thought process. Now, the abuse started and it went downhill pretty quickly. But when I first joined, I had the aha moment that if I pay, now I'm obviously not going to be able to pay a lot because I was just getting started, but if I pay and the bid bots get my post on trending or in the top 25, 30 of trending, I'll get more eyeballs to my site. That's how it really worked. It really did when you first got started. This kind of comes back to the InLeo in-house advertising model. I personally would pay to get my ads or my content shown in front of Leo people. This is why. I believe building my following on Leo, just like building my following and engagement on the previous chain, are very, very important to me. Because I believe in Web3. I believe in these type of models much more than Instagram, much more than Twitter. I believe in Leo. I believe in Hive. So for me, it might only be 100,000 exposures a month. That's great for someone like me. So I'm not saying I'm going to be like everyone and everyone's going to flood into the market and flood it with ads, but I could totally see a budget for my company set up to advertise in front of Leo eyeballs.
Yeah, because you're on Leo. But if you weren't on Leo, who's going to look at Leo from the outside and say 500,000 monthly page views?
Right. Yeah.
It's just that, and that'll have to be the starting point. The starting point will have to come from people inside Hive and inside Leo and projects that are there, whether they're individuals or whether it's full blown projects or games that they utilize. But again, a simple you look. Cal made a thread. He noticed VSC got premium membership. There's some promotion for VSC, and Cal said, "Are they the first project?" And I said, "No, Rising Star actually, for a couple weeks, at least a week ago, they went premium." But that was a great move for Rising Star because Rising Star is getting active on Threads. They stand out. Their premium membership. Is that going to change the course of Rising Star? No, but it does give them a little separation, a little bit of leg up, and so that's the place. But even Cal said they're having to accelerate the timeline on the internal advertising platform because CoinZilla screwed them over, and Cal wanted to wait. What did he say? About 2 million, 2.5 million clicks a month, page views a month, and we're at 500,000. So it's being accelerated. But again, we know this. Are you preparing? Are you doing anything? It all comes back to the same stuff. It's not like much of this is a secret. It's not like people are caught off guard by anything. And it's like, if you're not prepared, you just either A, haven't been paying attention, or B, you didn't do shit about it.
Yeah.
You didn't do shit about it. And, whether it's still using Peak D to post, and, fine. If you want to use Peak D, that's great. Just, you're not getting evergreen content, period. If you're not stacking Leo and powering it up, you're not going to share in the reward pool. That's the criteria. Are you writing content that will age? That's another thing. I mean, how much of our content, Django, and I'm just as guilty of this. Go read my last 20 posts. Of my last 20 written posts, probably 15, maybe 18 of them a year from now or 18 months from now will be totally and completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I mean, if I write about Tesla earnings, I mean, probably pretty irrelevant since it's a forecast anyway, the second I hit print, but it's certainly irrelevant the second after Tesla announces their earnings, let alone 4 quarters from now. I mean, so you write your Hive goals. Do you really give a shit? Even you, do you really give a shit about your Hive goals the second Saturday of last April? No, it's irrelevant to you.
Yeah.
So there's 52 posts over last year that mean nothing even to you, let alone everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what happens when you write time sensitive stuff. And most of what we write is applicable to what's going on in the moment, what we're thinking about now, yada, yada, yada. But a year from now, that's irrelevant content.
Yeah.
So are you writing stuff that, has any bearing in the future? I mean, I wrote a series of articles about Disney. You know what their relevance is in 6 months, a year? Nothing.
Right.
It has no time relevance.
Well,
it's not going to age because I was writing about where they are in the moment. And yes, I'm projecting a little bit where they're going, but it's not going to matter. It's material.
Maybe we should come up with a little home study course, because this is what I've been teaching in ClickTrack Profit for years now. There's two types of content you have as a content creator. You have your stock and your flow, right? Your pillar content is your stock content. That's the stuff that people, like you said, will revisit 6 months down the road. Your flow content is the time sensitive stuff, the stuff that just comes, it flows out of you. So as a content creator on this blockchain, I think that's something you need to do. You need to look at these two types of content, and you need both. You need to have your flow content, your time sensitive, your Tesla stock prices, because that's what keeps me. If you, out of sight, out of mind, it all comes back to that too. If you're not creating every day, no one's going to pay attention to you in a couple of weeks from now. So you put the stuff out constantly, but then on your back burner, you do have that stock content. You have the pillar content, the stuff that you want people to go back to 6 months down the road. And this is how you attack it. So if you're going to get very frustrated if you try to make every single piece of content you write stock content. You'll go nuts because you're going to be trying to create Picasso each and every day. But you need both. You need that flow stuff, the freestyle writing, the just what comes to the top of your head to lead people to the stock stuff once you get it.
Well, I also think it depends on what you're writing about. I mean, there's certain things like travel. A lot of that, okay, if you're talking about, let's say, a particular festival in a particular town or country you visited, fine. That's part of that flow content. That's time sensitive. But if you write about your trip to Italy, 3 years later, that what you're writing about is still valid. If you're writing about photography, that's still probably valid 3 months, 6 months, 2 years from now. If you're writing about certain things, a lot of that stuff, movies, music, a lot of that stuff is valid. If you're writing about sports, I mean, if you wrote about Tom Brady, quarterback of the Patriots, well, that hasn't been valid in 4 years. It's so those things change, and you can write a lot of stuff. There's a lot of topics that are just, if you're looking at this as a database and you're looking at stuff, building a repository of stuff that people can revisit, there's certain things that you have to look at from that, what you call stock perspective. And, maybe it entails writing about things that are not necessarily in your main area of focus, but will have some stickability if you want that evergreen content. Because, writing about where the price of Bitcoin is going to be in a week, I mean, that may be pertinent right now and of concern to people right now, but guess what? In 8 days, it's immaterial. I mean, it's And it's the same thing with news. I mean, people write news unless you're writing it like you want to use the blockchain as a truth mechanism. So, okay, you're recording stuff. But outside of that, I mean, write an article about Russia invading Ukraine. Well, 18 months later, that's old news. I mean, it's so. I mean, these are things that we have to adjust our thinking. And as I said, I know if I look back over my last 20 written posts and I ask honestly, how many of these are going to have any relevancy whatsoever 12 to 18 months from now? Out of 20, I probably will be lucky to find three. Lucky. And I might only find one. So what's that? 5%? That's why I think Evergreen's going to disappoint a lot of people because we tend to write stuff. Again, it goes back to writing stuff to try to get rewards.
Well, but you got to like again. I'm thinking content creator elements and internet marketing. Even my affiliate marketing background. I'm thinking like you could send traffic, you could generate traffic to those old posts, which in turn generates evergreen rewards. If you have a funnel set up, if you have a mailing list set up, if you have a circle of friends set up, a network set up, you could leverage that and get rewarded for your evergreen content if you have a source of traffic so you can funnel the traffic to that content.
Or to add to your point, how about the source of traffic being the search engine? If you have something that ranks in decently in the search engine, go back and refresh the content.
Yeah.
Rewrite it. Add more pictures. Spruce up your links. And then refresh that and then write some new articles relating to that, maybe linking into that. And, then maybe all that activity, Google will look at it and say, hey, there's something going on here and place you a little better. I mean, These are things that people need to start thinking about, and adjusting how they start to approach their content and writing the content and linking their content together. And, it seems on Hive right now, Django, people write an article and then it's gone. It's in the great abyss. You get your rewards, you get paid 7 days later, but hell, most people don't even go back and comment when people comment. So they don't even go back and look at it.
Right.
And the search on change sucks, so nobody's ever really finding the content that way. I mean,
don't get Sunseeker started on that, right?
Well, Sunseeker just followed. I told you about trying to find Dan's.
Right. Yeah, on Three Speak. Yeah.
I knew what I was looking for. I mean, I wasn't even trying to use a keyword. I knew exactly what I was looking for. I finally just said, fuck it. I went to his website. I went to his profile on PT because I knew I could find it there. I mean, these are things, and that's the application level, and we have no control over that. But that's why you have to take other methods, and that's why I think people need to really step back and analyze what how they're approaching this thing, especially on Leo, because the game potentially could be changed. Not potentially, the game is changing. The question is, how many is the game changing for? And my view, Django, I think the game's only changing for a certain few, because I don't think most people are even going to be in the game. They don't realize it, but they're not even going to be in the game.
Yep. Agreed. I mean, a lot of people were, Logical Dude and Tokenized were talking about the muting. The front ends on the outpost can do that. So there's, I think Leo could do that pretty easily as well. But I wanted to touch on something Best Start here said. So he's kind of talking about the big issue being decentralized and censorship free. So he's mentioning this. I'm gonna to close the show. I'm gonna read you a tweet that I saw just before we went live. I retweeted it and commented on it because I thought it was the funniest thing I've read all day. I'm gonna read this to you. Okay, Task, you ready for this?
Sure.
AI should be decentralized as much as possible. Open source is a great step towards this. Crypto should be decentralized. Self-custodial wallets and protocols help this. Permissionless access creates innovation instead of gatekeepers. No single entity to capture. Who do you think said that?
Probably Altman.
That was Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. Tweeted that about an hour ago. Hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is the king gatekeeper. The king of the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not one of the things other than Bitcoin on his platform is decentralized. Everything is centralized poop coin there. He doesn't add anything decentralized. So this is the problem. This is the main problem with crypto is you have these jackholes, these leaders, using bunny ears, that are out there talking about this stuff. Meanwhile, they never practice what they preach.
No.
It kills me. What are your thoughts on something like that? It was on Twitter, Nelson.
Well, I'm waiting for the next tweet where Donald Trump will talk about humility. It's I mean, it's are these people just completely and utterly full of shit, and they know it, or are they such psychopaths they actually believe what they say? I mean, is Armstrong really full of crap? Or is he naive? Does he actually believe what he wrote there? That he is not the exact antithesis of what he wrote? And I have no problem with him being the antithesis of that. Fine, be centralized. Be, the Wall Street darling, whatever. But don't try to pretend you're a DEX. You're not. Don't try to pretend you're open source. You're not. Don't try to pretend you're a protocol. You're not. No. I mean, you are a centralized, publicly traded business. You are Wall Street. You have a banking license. You're under FINRA. You are establishment as they come.
And that's fine. Be that.
Yeah.
Right?
At least just don't. I mean, Jamie Dimon's not trying to be something other than what Jamie Dimon is. He's a banker. Right. He doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't try to make like he's something else. He's a banker. He runs JP Morgan. He may be the most powerful motherfucker in the United States. And he doesn't apologize for it. And he doesn't pretend he's not.
Yep. No problem.
I mean, that's what he is. I
just see that stuff, and I just you wonder why crypto has these days like this when Binance goes all this news and gossip. This is why. Because you got these blowhards that never practice what they preach.
No.
That are it's just.
Well, and it is absurd coming from, I mean, any idiot can see with Coinbase how absurd this is. But it's, you have to investigate a little bit more, watch CTT, they'll tell you. But it's the same absurdity with the Ethereum fools. I mean, because they're just as centralized when you look at it.
Dude, before you go, before you touch on that, I bought this book yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. I put it on Threads.
Yeah, I saw it.
Web3 marketing. So I'm about a quarter of the way through the book already. First of all, the lady who wrote this is a total Ethereum fangirl. She apparently was one of the founders, and she helped market Ethereum way back. I never even heard of her because I pay no attention to Ethereum. But the entire book is how Ethereum is the key to all of this. Everything about it is Ethereum. Everything. So, but decentralized. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's totally decentralized. Yeah.
I mean, this is the clown show. Once you start to understand, see, here's the reality. Once you start to understand how little out there truly fits into these categories, and Dan and Starkers are wonderful at revealing this, and they're on Twitter all the time, so follow them over there. But they talk about it on CTT. Dan does a deep dive in everything and anything out there. He figures out where the points of vulnerability are. He can tell you where the centralization comes in. And, when you start to encounter a book like this and see, you have the knowledge, John, go to look at it, and you're a third of the way through this book, and this whole book's full of crap. because you understand now Ethereum. But you take 98, 99% of the people, they'll read that and they'll say,
Yeah.
oh, this
Oh
is
yeah.
accurate. Ethereum,
Yeah.
Web3. And
Yeah,
it's
I'm gonna
like,
build. And she talks about how great Solidity is. I can't make this stuff up. There's an entire chapter about how great Ethereum is and Solidity and how many developers are on Solidity now. It's like how
yeah,
many
and
billions
every
of dollars
third
have been lost because the
contract's
code's
getting
crashed.
hacked. Every third damn
That's what I
contract's
mean.
getting
Like,
hacked because nobody knows how to use Solidity.
like this type
If
of
they
stuff
write the
drives me.
damn contracts
Whatever.
in what are it, Java or something, Java or something like that, Python. I don't know if they can write in Python. I think that's a database, but Java or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bazillion people out there who've been using Java for
Kind of like you can do on Hive.
what?
Kind of like you can do on Hive. Like, use the code that you're familiar with and stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. The base layer, you got to have some C++, but those people know that. I think one of the ideas with half, I forget what block trade said that was, SQL, something like that. He's using a common language for that. I think VSC is using like Java. Um, what we use on Hive, HTML. What I use is HTML and Markdown. I don't know either of them anyway.
Markdown, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just clueless about any of that anyway. But that's where how do I bold in Markdown comes in. A search engine makes it easy. But yeah, this is why people are so clueless because, and the problem is I can't speak for Brian Armstrong, but I'm going to speak for the lady who wrote that book. I have a feeling she believes what she put in that book.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think she believes that like Ethereum is the future. And it's not that Ethereum doesn't have a future. I don't think it's going away. But I don't think it's the future
But
that
it's the be all end all of Web3 is just like
it's not even going to be part of Web3. I mean, that's going to be a banker chain. That if there is a banker chain, it's going to be Ethereum. Again, who the hell's going to pay $600 in fees to transfer money? People were sending, 200 million. Well, guess who does that? Wall Street. Somebody who wants to sell an NFT for $50, they're not going to pay $30 in fees or $60 in fees. But that's the world we live in. So, it all comes back to what you said, personal responsibility. I mean, you didn't say it in those terms, but it comes down to personal responsibility. And what are you going to do? I mean, the playing field is open. It's wide open. What did I can't read that.
Oh, it just says Ed said, I've done some shallow dive into Solidity before. It's definitely easy to get into trouble with it very quickly. So
there you go. There you go. Aloha Ed's played in it. I don't have knowledge even look at it, but that in our conversations with block trades and him talking about half and some of the issues with Solidity disregard, he mentioned the same thing. The problem is not only is it, do you not know it? Yeah. Trying to find people who are experts in it and getting people to review what you've done gets difficult. Just because what knowledge does the person reviewing your code have? 3 years? Yeah. Now you go with something like Java. I mean, you may be talking to an Archange or somebody like that who may have been using Java for, forever. He knows that like he knows his fingernails. That's one of the bigger differences. So, and
this is what Logical Dude just put in the threadcast, and he does development work. Obviously, he said JavaScript, Ruby, Python, and PHP are the languages of Hive, and that's what I was saying. It's like this is stuff that a lot of developers know. Like PHP, heck, I know basic PHP, but even me, I'm an idiot. I can't even spell my name half the time. Look, my name is Django. I can't even spell John properly. anyone know that this is the problem. This was the issue, is that Hive, you can have that code and develop in that code that has tons of knowledge bases, tons of development, and then Solidity is just this like unique little group of people. And how much do
Yeah.
they charge to check your work too in Solidity? Like, you can't get it for like $5 for someone to look at your stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't know how that works. I think a lot of times devs will take a look at each other's work, and they do that as a courtesy, because a lot of stuff, especially when smart contracts, I mean, other people can use it. It's not like it's your own contract. But maybe not. I don't know the ins and outs of all that. But yeah, everything that Logical mentioned, I've heard of all those.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and I go back to transaction fees. I just can't get over that when you look at it and you're trying to say, okay, the future is these EVMs. And I don't care, okay, if you say Ethereum's going to be the banker chain, we agree with you, Tess, but what about Polygon? What about these? These have very low fees. It's just a few cents. And it's like, okay, are you going to pay a couple cents to give a like, to give a vote, to send a thread, to send a comment? Are you going to imagine having, John, you're going to hate me. I'm going to mention it. But imagine if you had to, every time you hit thread, your MetaMask thing popped up and said, do you approve this transaction
You have
for
to
like,
approve the transaction, then you got to pay the
like
fee.
a tenth of a cent, and you have to hit okay. And it took,
Let's do it.
that 15 seconds to process the transaction, and said the process goes through.
Oh, but if your gas fee isn't enough, the transaction doesn't go through and you lose your gas fee, because that happens on Ethereum all the time.
Well, I'm
'Cause it's
talking
such a
Polygon
useless-
where it's just nothing. But
Oh, yeah.
who's going to wait that time? And then are you going to pay that each and every time just to give somebody a vote on a comment, or just to comment, or do a thread, or any of this? It just doesn't work. And I mean, I give Larimer credit. He figured out a way to to develop a system that essentially took the Web 2 model of use it for free. He turned it kind of into a freemium. It is a freemium. That's exactly what it is. But it doesn't have direct transaction costs, because direct transaction costs would not have worked. So I give him credit for tokenizing on the back end the activity. And that really is unique, and it stands out. And even now, what is it, 7 years later, it's unrivaled, it's unparalleled, because nothing else out there, from what I can see, and I don't look at everything, and I'm sure there's some new stuff developing. You have to get away from those transaction fees. And if you eliminate them, then my question is, are you really dealing with a centralized entity who's going to monetize in some other way? And that's what Dan and Brian talk about with Lightning Network. At some point, the idea that every idiot's going to run a Lightning node, first off, Brian London will tell you it's too complicated for that to happen. And then the second thing is unless you're a big provider, it's going to end up being a money loser, and people aren't going to do that. So who's without the incentive to run a node? The only ones running a node are going to be monetized in a different manner. And we tend to know how those people monetize things. It's either through the data or through hitting you up to sell you other stuff. It's so, a JP Morgan or a Coinbase has every incentive to run a Lightning node. I mean, I could see Coinbase running a Lightning node in one of the biggest Lightning nodes and saying, hey, we provide a Lightning node. I mean, hell, he built Base, decentralized layer 2 for Ethereum by Coinbase. I mean, come on. Does that make even any sense on any logical level that is decentralized? No. It's Coinbase's baby. It's run by Coinbase.
What a show. thank you guys for being very active. Loved all the threadcast
How
questions.
many people did we piss off, John? Go.
Oh no, everyone's with us, man. Everyone's on Team Maniacs tonight. We got lots of comments on Threadcast, lots of comments in YouTube as well. So nah, man, we didn't piss anybody off, man. No one can get mad at us because we're speaking truth, man. We're the truth maniacs, not just the crypto maniacs.
Well, we going back to what we said earlier. We have to bring religion in.
Oh, dude, that's great. We could bring Larimer into that because he's on
We're
the
gospel.
religious kick now. So we could do
He's
that.
back on his religious kick. Do you remember when he put up that post? He
Perfect.
wrote a post of why he quit Christianity, which his dad went. I can only imagine his dad went ape shit because his dad's like a hardcore evangelical.
Well, he's back. He's definitely back because he's
Yeah,
making. That's what he posts all the time
Yeah,
now on Hive too. When he does posts on Hive, it's always religious content.
Yeah, he's
Dude,
back in.
We go to him and say, just go to Threads and just talk, whatever you want to talk about religious wise. Let's just do it, and we'll get everyone to get into a big circle and hug it out. No, it'd be good for clicks.
You know, I understand where you're coming from, Django, but what I mean, no, I got a serious point here.
Yeah.
Do you think that will work, or would most people just ignore it? I mean, I know on Twitter, if he did that shit on Twitter, like 1,000 people would come in siding with him, and 1,000 people would come in against him.
The numbers. That's it. That's the only reason it would stick out.
Even without the numbers, it's like, I mean, you know.
Well, it doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying, like, this is it's it's not the greatest strategy in the world, but it works in social media. If you want traffic, if you want clicks, if you want attention,
controversy is a great thing.
Controversy sells. So
and all the platforms want to sell their controversy because that's what keeps people engaged.
Yeah.
The Facebook platforms, the Twitter platforms, they want people engaged. I mean, Elon, I've said it. He's a huge troll. He's been a troll even before he owned Twitter. And now that he owns Twitter, he's even worse of a troll. And he does trolling, and guess what? He gets 1 billion comments.
Yep. Oh, it's great. Love it. Big shout out to Neo. Neo's already doing small clips and short clips of the Maniac show already, man. Trying to stir the pot. Speaking of stirring the pot, big shout out to Neo.
Everybody needs to. I think it's Neo Talks Web 3. It's his YouTube channel. Go to that, subscribe to it, help him out there. If you see his content, watch a couple of the videos, at least click on them so they get into your rotation, into your feed. There it is, Neo Talks Web 3. And then when you see one of his videos, give it an upvote to help it out, help him out in the algos, watch the video. He puts together a lot of short videos. He does put up This Week in Hive, and he does stuff with the CTT guys. So he does a great job. And I mean, he does post it on Hive. So obviously, if you see the content on Hive, give him an upvote. But he's really working hard on the YouTube angle of things and getting outreach there. So do what you can to help the algos in his favor, and maybe push things forward a little bit.
Not all heroes wear capes, and Neo is our hero.
Yeah, and he has the right hairstyle. He's follically challenged too, so we gotta like Neo.
He is. Yes, he is. Good guy though, and he's not AI because I've met him in real life. Few people I've met in real life I can confirm they're actual people. Neo being one, and a Nomad Soul being another. Everyone else I don't know. Everyone else could be AI. You might be AI. Task, I don't know. Maybe.
Didn't you meet what the hell?
Bradley Arrow. Bradley Arrow. He's real. I met him. He's real.
I would stop admitting that.
Yeah, he's eclectic, but he's real.
Wait,
a lot of people.
We're on a roll. This is like 2 shows in a row or 3 shows in a row we've mentioned Bradley Arrow. We waited till the end, Bradley, so you had to listen to the end to.
Yep.
To hear.
He already retweeted the podcast, but that was like an hour ago. So he should be watching or listening tomorrow on his drive to work. Bradley Arrow, sir. guys. You guys have a fantastic week. We will be back on Thursday because Jongo doesn't have a job anymore, so Jongo's going to be around for the next little while until I figure my life out. So you guys are stuck with me.
Dude, I haven't had a job in 4.5. I haven't had a job in 4.5 years, and I work more hours than I ever did in any job.
I want to be like you, Task. Teach me the way, sir. I will pay the $47 for your home study course.
I'll give you the Leo Glossary posting key, and I'll put your ass to work.
I love it. Guys, have a great week. See you on Thursday. Toodles.
Ciao.